Welcome to Washington, D.C. for Old Glory's first ever home match against the defending Major League Rugby champions, the Seattle Seawolves. I'm Preston Thompson, joined by Mike Tolkien and Roland Pratt. Now guys, both teams are looking for their first win of the season as Seattle lost to the Legion away in San Diego, and Old Glory had a rough go of it in the scrum against New Orleans. Mike.
Yeah, last week Seattle had some issues in their set piece, especially in their lineup. They also had some issues with quality and time of possession, as well as falling off a few tackles late. While DC had some severe issues in their scrum and also fell off tackles later in the game that cost them.
Now Roland, what do both teams have to do today to ensure a victory?
Well, for the Seattle team, they'll be looking to clean up those lineouts and their kicking game, which were both a little bit wayward last week. If they can do that, that will allow them to control the tempo of the game, which is going to be a key factor here today. For Old Glory, it begins and ends with the scrum. If they can stabilize that scrum after having an extra week of practice, plus the addition of the Beast, should allow them to go well there today.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have the anthems and the lineups. Back at Cardinal Stadium at Catholic University here in Washington, D.C. And both teams are taking the field, but Mike Tolkien, walk me through the players to watch on the Seattle Seawolves.
In the pack, tight head prop Jake Ilnicki has the honor of taking on the Beast at scrum time today, while lock Brad Tucker will look to bring his energy to the fray. In the backs, Seattle look to the leadership and playmaking skills of Shalom Suniula, and look for the flyer, Matt Turner, attacking from fullback.
And Roland, who are the danger men for Old Glory?
Well, the forward pack will be led by current World Cup champion Tendai, the Beast Mtawarira. The back line will be marshalled by an exciting halfback partnership of Danny Tuisatala and Jason Robertson from the Waikato.
And as both teams are lining up here, we're about to have our anthem, and then we'll get right back to the first ever home match here at Cardinal Stadium. So there's been a lot of talk, guys, about Mtawarira joining Old Glory. Mike, you've been a coach at all different levels. I'll get back to this question once the anthem is finished. All right, we're also joined by our sideline analyst, Brianna Kim. Brianna, who are you keeping your eyes out for down there on the field?
Guys, two players to watch for in today's match. First for the Seattle Seawolves is number 8, Riekert Hadding. He's the captain for this team, and for good reason. He leads by example on the field. Last week versus the San Diego Legion, he had 6 carries for 76 meters, one of which resulted in a brilliant try. He's jumping in the lineouts. He's carrying off the scrum. He's going to be critical to their success. Second, for Old Glory DC, as you already mentioned, Tendai the Beast, Mtawarira, coming hot off a Rugby World Cup win with South Africa in the fall. Old Glory only retained 40% of their put-ins last week versus NOLA. One man isn't going to be the solution, but Tendai is the best solution for this weekend. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Brianna. Mike, so before the anthem, I was going to ask you, there's been a lot of publicity about Tendai joining Old Glory. That type of publicity isn't common in American rugby. What would you tell, if you were coaching the Seawolves, what would you tell them to keep them calm and keep focused on the game and not get lost in all this talk about the beast?
Well, I think this week that Seattle was focusing on their own game, really trying to fix their own problems. And I know Coach Kies Lensing would have definitely focused on that this week. So I think that's the important thing for them. And probably they're not focused on the beast as much as everyone else is.
At least until the first scrum. Roland, what would you tell DC? Because they might think that with how the scrums went last week, I mean, they have reinforcements, but they need to stay grounded as well and stay humble until that first scrum, and we can see what the unit's doing.
Absolutely. They've been working hard all week, but the confidence factor that's been instilled in them with the addition of Tendai has got to be a huge factor today. How he goes, I'd like to see how the rest of the forward pack can go. If they're able to maintain possession, their exciting backline should be able to do quite a bit of damage here today.
That's one thing we're looking forward to Old Glory doing, is getting the ball into the backs with a solid platform. We didn't see that a whole lot last week, and that's definitely something that Seattle witnessed as well. So they'll be looking to put pressure on that scrum so we can't have Kieran Hearn and threaten Palamo running rampant.
Yeah, there's no doubt that that back line has some danger in it if they can get some possession today.
And it's almost time for the first official kickoff in the first home match at Cardinal Stadium.
What an incredible crowd, folks.
Yeah, people still strolling in. I see a lot of people over by the beer garden.
It's a full house.
And the match is off. Seattle taking it cleanly. Reichert Hadding busting the ball up there just outside the 22. Seattle taking their time, not in a rush. You can see Nakatini trying to break up that ruck. High kick taken well by Taikato Simpson, and he has some space. Finds the offload, goes to ground, but it's cleaned up by Travis Larson. Tusitala marshalling his forwards around.
Offside Seattle.
See Tusitala digging around in there like a miner. And he's taking it quickly, takes the quick tap out to Robertson. Finds the beast, he gets his first touch of the game. Surprisingly tackled. Palamo finding a gap. Great to see Palamo coming back from foot injury. An active player all across the States. Nakali getting his first carry. Let's see if we call an obstruction. We do. That's unfortunate. Old Glory having some good possession there, but just unfortunate to is an accidental obstruction.
That is unfortunate. They had some real nice phases there. And I'll tell you what, Tendai had a good carry, but Threaten is no easy target to take down there out in the open field as well.
That is two big ball carriers to have to worry about there all day. But again, the quick tap from Danny Tusitala, keeping that tempo high. That's exactly how DC want to play today.
We'll have our first line out.
I think Tusitala all preseason showed that he is lightning and he's electric, and those quick taps are going to happen all season. So hopefully Seattle did their homework on that.
Well, his pedigree is the Samoan Sevens team, so we know he's got some wheels.
You can see the electricity in his hair. You know he's fast, the bleach blonde. Taken cleanly off the top. Scott goes with the chip over. Seattle outruns it. Huge take by Old Glory. Mungo Mason finally brought down. Tusitala out to the beast.
Good hands.
He wanted to make it a little bit more difficult for himself. Quick ball now. Robertson finds the gap, splits two men. Does he have support, and even will he need it? Try time. Robertson. Old Glory takes the lead in the corner, 5-0.
Well, he saw a little dog leg there, and that's all he needed, and he was right through it and was able to finish. He's an exciting runner in the open field, isn't he, Roland?
What a fabulous start there. But yeah, that was all Jason Robertson. Down and scoring in the corner. The Waikato man's going to be delighted. That's just going to give the team so much more confidence after the terrible start they had last week. Let's see if they can continue this momentum now.
It all started from that Scott Dean chip kick where it, you don't know how rugby ball is going to bounce, and it did not bounce Seattle's way, and it went right into Mungo Mason's hands, co-captain, and he was able to gain at least 20 meters. And then, as you said, that broken defensive line, Robertson exploited that masterfully. We'll see if he can add the extras.
Well, Mungo Mason has been one of the guiding lights this year. He has been their best forward so far on the season. So no surprising that he was, being a good number 7, he was on the spot there to collect that ball.
You know, from the turnover time when they collected that kick, you usually have, in general, about 30 seconds where that defense is still fractured and still trying to organize, and that's exactly what DC took advantage of there.
Luckily, they only needed 20 seconds to put it in.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're going to be looking to do, that quick strike offense.
And Robertson really showing his speed there, too. Untouched once he went through that gap.
Good to see the injury from last week hadn't really affected him too much.
It's good news for Old Glory.
No doubt.
And the kick is up. The flags stay down, so the score remains 5-0. But the damage is done, and momentum clearly in Old Glory's corner.
Yeah, I think they needed that. Like you mentioned, you know, coming off last week, and, you know, New Orleans was off to a quick start. At home, opener against the defending champs. That's a welcome start for Old Glory.
Scott gets it started again. Taken cleanly by the wing to Nana. Not in a rush here. Fighting on to Schultz, banging the ball up. And it goes back. Robertson trying to find touch, and he does. A little bit of breathing room, but still not out of the weeds yet. Seattle has pretty good field position here.
Yeah, and you know, Seattle, you know, focusing on them after that quick score. They're veterans. They're 2-time defending champions. This is a position they've been to many times, including the last minute of the final last year. So they'll regroup. No real dramas on their part here.
Absolutely, Coach. They're a bunch of consummate professionals. They won't be rattled by this one way or the other. So they're going to look to get their hands on the ball right now and go right back at them.
As Mike Shepard throws it in. Tucker out to big George Barton, and he's brought down by Lopresti. And they earn a penalty.
What a tackle by the big Lopresti boy, Dante.
You normally don't see a hooker and an inside center around the same size, but George Barton is a huge load. But Lopresti not backing down and earning his team a penalty.
Definitely. You know, the line speed of Old Glory was phenomenal there, and that they met the charge, and they were right on top of it, and that's great defense there, and now they'll be rewarded.
You could tell the way Dante Lopresti got up there. He was excited for that hit. Delighted to be in the game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this center matchup. Both inside centers capped Canadian internationals. Both outside centers capped USA internationals. You've actually coached a couple of them. So that's a matchup I'm looking forward to. And in this case, Old Glory getting the better in that matchup.
Look for Mungo Mason in the centers here, guys.
Tusitala, fun on a Schultz. Tusitala, quick ball. There's Nakatini with the one-handed offload. Switching the field of play. Fun Schultz cleaning it up. But we have a penalty, so it does not matter. I believe the call is offsides. So this is not a position that we've seen Seattle in, giving up a lot of penalties this early, Mike.
Well, and I'll tell you what, you know, Nakatini, just looking at him, that's an offload that we've seen so many times. You know it's coming, but he still gets them off time and time again. And, you know, the former Seattle player and champion.
Yeah, he's going to be looking to tell those Seattle guys they got rid of him at least a year too early. But that is just the Fijian DNA at its play right there. That offloading game is they're just born with that. It's amazing to watch.
That's why you watch the game. It's one of the most beautiful aspects of it. And Old Glory elects to go for 3 points to extend their lead.
I'll tell you what, guys, one thing I see in the Seattle defense, there's really a little bit of a disconnect between the interior defense and the first offender. So we'll see if Old Glory is able to exploit that, and if they see it, there could be some big gaps there.
You make an excellent point. I wonder if Seattle are focusing on that themselves, if they can rectify that situation quickly.
Robertson gets set, eyes the posts. How will this kick go? It has the distance, and it's good.
All the way.
8-0, Old Glory on top of the defending Major League Rugby champion Seattle Seawolves. It's been an action-packed opening 10 minutes.
Yeah, and last week it was Seattle who was on top 10-0, and this week they're down 10 points. So, you know, they're on the road for the second week in a row. So really starting to form some work on the road to try to make their game what they want to eventually make it.
Well, this Old
as
Glory
champions.
team currently has their tails up, and they're going to be looking for more right now. Watch for them here to try and put their to get more possession here.
Skydadine goes to the same part of the field. Takato Simpson quickly volleys it back. Wants no part of the ball in his own territory. Taken cleanly by Hadding. To Matt Turner. To JP. Looping pass. Fraser had an angle on it, but it did not matter. It went right over his head. Great searching run by the Seawolves. Brock Stoller is no stranger to Major League Rugby. And we're getting a little bit of handbags down here. All part of the game. Nothing too serious going on right now.
Yeah, you know, something interesting there. Hatton caught the ball there. Usually he never passes. He trucks it up, and he's a rock. And that time he did. Fraser went for the intercept and just missed it, and it was a costly miss there.
Yeah, if you go for it and you get it, it's perfect. You're going to have an interception try, but if you don't get it, you give up 30, 40 or meters and a penalty.
Also, though, good cover defense. The guys got there. 3 of them got there in the end. So, you know, but unfortunately, the penalty for the not releasing, and Seattle get the line out.
And that was a nice hit and recovery, but still infringing at the breakdown. As we have the Seattle Maul setting up. First maul of the match.
Here's an area that they really put a lot of work on this week because they weren't as strong as they'd wanted to be last week.
JP breaking off. Brock Stoller gets the inside pop. JP again. Seattle just trying to regroup. Slowly but surely, but it's stolen. Illegally stolen. Looked like the ball popped out to Nakali, but sometimes it's too good to be true, and in that case it was.
It was a little too quick for my liking there, so I was suspicious.
So you go for points, or you have to get points on the board, or you go for their.
I think on the road you want to get some points on the board.
Yep.
That's the first time they were really down there with sustained pressure, and put points on the board, reward yourselves. And
I don't think it'll be too much of an issue for the Old Glory guys to give away the 3 points here, considering that breakaway that Seattle had. The 3 points is probably a fair result.
And you know, guys, last week, Seattle was only in what they called the gold zone, the opposition 22, only 5 times in San Diego. They did come out with 3 scores on those occasions, but they want to be in there a lot more, talking to Kies before the game.
Dave Busby. And the kick is good. 8-3. Old Glory still in the lead. I want to thank Virginia Mason, celebrating 100 years of patient care. Virginia Mason is the exclusive medical provider of Seattle Seawolves. Discover more at virginiamason.org. Virginia Mason, here's to you.
I know Seattle will be happy about winning a line out. You know, it's, again, another area of focus for them.
It's a nice high kick.
Well fielded.
Taken just inside the 22, but he crawled out. So outside the 22, he cannot kick it straight out. JP slowing it down. Going with the box kick. It's a high kick and the chase is on.
Not a good kick.
Lets it bounce. Like Hadding had a hand on it and knocked it on. So we'll have our first scrum of the match.
Again, one of the factors of this week was they wanted to clean up that kicking game. Another loose kick from JP. He had a few of those last week. He needs to improve in that area. But when we talk about improvement, we got a big scrum right now, Coach.
Yeah, well, you no doubt about those kicks. Last week they had some wayward kicks, and it hurt them. And this is an area where last week hurt DC. So let's see how it goes. And the Beast is in it for his first scrum of the year.
Holding our breaths.
Let's see how this arm wrestling match turns out. And we'll have a reset. Both teams just feeling each other out. They both want the upper hand.
Yeah. And, you know, talking to the referee, Lex, before the game, you know, he had mentioned that the league really wants to cut down on resets. And, you know, you may see the penalties and even the cards come out very quickly today if things go awry.
Purists would not like that, as they're always itching for more scrums.
Small group of the population.
The backs need ball too, right? No, I agree. This one getting pushed back. Beast or no beast. Seattle turning this one over. That's exactly what they wanted. And it's almost a repeat of last week. But still a lot of game left, and Old Glory has time to clean that up.
Yeah, but an ominous start. That's the last thing that DC wanted to see. It's a long game, and it'll get better. But again, Seattle is a formidable pack, and that's why they've won 2 championships.
And I believe this is Dante Lopresti's first start at hooker, especially at this level. You can see the dichotomy of the front row when you have Mtawarira with combined professional and international caps well over 200. Dante Lopresti getting his first bit of action at this level.
1 cap.
Yeah, 1 cap. Finally has his first. We'll have another line out. Mike Shepard to throw in. Going all the way to the back. Reaching up is Pelser. George Barton getting a nice hit up. JP Smith quickly taken by Brad Tucker, but he's met by 2 Old Glory men. Scott Dean pops to capped Eagle Shalom Suniula of the famed Suniula family. Switching the field, Hadding. He's dumped down. That is a clear penalty. And we'll see if a card comes out or if it's just a warning. But guys, you can't take a player's hips and put him above his head.
No, and listen, DC has excellent line speed coming, and they're committed to defense. You can see that. But maybe their over-anxiousness, over-aggressiveness, Rolly, is going to get them into some trouble early on.
Yeah, I think that was mostly a timing issue right there. I think the referee was very smart. While it was a penalty, I don't think they needed to go any further than that.
No doubt.
There's also something to be said about being the first one, being very physical, and letting them know that even though it is record Hadding, you're not going to lay down. You're still going to hit them hard.
Absolutely. We're going to see a lot of big hits here today.
And I think speaking of hits, here's a man who hits quite a few of his kicks.
The 60-meter man.
Brock Stoller.
Yeah, Brock Stoller.
Scoring ever since he was in college.
This guy has a rocket launcher for a boot, folks.
He's eyeing up the posts. Crowd jeering just a little bit. I say welcome to America. The kick is up. The flags go up as well. 8-6. Seattle now only 2 points down. So the first 7 to 8 minutes were all Old Glory. But since then, Seattle getting 2 penalties on board and showing that you might not start off as fast, but momentum is building on their side.
Yeah, again, there's composure on the Seattle side, and that's what they're going to show throughout this game. They know they have the horses, and again, they've been in this position many times before.
They're starting to get their set piece correct, taking a couple of lineouts and got that big scrum penalty.
Good take by Seattle. Again, not in a rush. JP Smith yelling out instructions. Let's see if we go for another box kick, a high one. Similar areas last time, not taken cleanly by Takato Simpson. Looked to be knocked forward. And accidental offsides from the knock-on. So
that one was right on the mark. That was about 23, 25 meters, good hang time. So a real true contestable by Smith. And if we see that accuracy and that defensive line chase, then there's big trouble here for DC.
Way better kick that time for sure, Coach. What a bit of skill.
It's kept in by
Renata.
Tanana. And Takato Simpson has it now, eyeing his options.
Well played.
He goes for a line out, kicks it out, finds touch around midfield. So considering what just happened, that's best case scenario for Old Glory Rollers.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, poor kicking from Seattle. You have got to find touch at this level, guys. It's quite simple. And now you're back at the halfway line again because of one simple error.
It does help that Tanana looks to be about 6'4". He's very rangy.
He's
and
every
can
bit of
collect
it.
the ball.
Yes, indeed. Even with that man bun.
That adds a couple inches. And it's stolen by Old Glory. Dante Lopresti tripping over someone, probably his own man. Tusitala quickly getting it out. Nice hit up. So it's that part of the field where they will elect to go for a kick, trying to get it behind. Looks like Brock Stoller over to Matt Turner inside the 22. The crowd thinks that one was forward.
I tend to agree with
Takato
that
Simpson not dropping that one. He's not going to kick it. He steps Matt Turner. around midfield. Tusitala out to Nakatini. Skip pass out to threaten Palamo. Tries to find a gap. Takes 2 men to bring him down. Robertson, Dylan, out to Kieran Hearn. Kieran Hearn brings it back inside.
Looks like Nakatini's feeling
Tusitala.
it there, guys.
Out to Travis Larson. Coming back to the weak side. Roberts, Hearn. Hearn going forward, but it's ripped by George Barton. Canadian on Canadian violence just there. But Old Glory does retain it. Robertson going for a chip kick. He finds space, has the perfect bounce. Lopresti just not able to gather it on the wing there. Hooker not used to having to chase a kick like that, possibly.
An interesting run of events there. A couple of bounces and a couple of turnovers. And I'll tell you, at one point on the edge, Hearn had Frazier pretty open, and we've seen what he can do, Rolly, in the preseason.
Absolutely.
And Frazier has made some meters, and even last week he had a beauty run. And you know, it would have been interesting to get the ball in his hands there with space.
We're enjoying seeing that Canadian partnership, and it's definitely bearing fruit.
It's up to Hadding. Looks like he wanted to bring that one down, but couldn't gather it in. So Old Glory getting a nice chance right outside the Seattle 22. They'll have a line out. This is the deepest line out I believe Old Glory's had, Mike.
Yeah, and in the last 2 lineouts of Seattle, they've gone awry, so they're back to a little shaky.
Tusitala. Larson, charging run. Keeping momentum going. Robertson, inside pop, finds Fullerton.
And there's that space we were talking about.
Tusitala again to the Beast. Beast bowling forward. Quick ball from Tusitala to Robertson to Hearn. Skip pass out to Lopresti. He's hanging out of the wing. He throws a dummy. You're never going to fall for a dummy from a hooker. Out to Robertson again. To the Beast. Quick hands. Unfortunately goes to ground. Turned over by Seattle. And JP Smith will relieve the pressure. Taikato Simpson going back. Good bounce for the Seawolves. Under no pressure though. Weighing his options. Puts a high kick in. And it does find touch around midfield. So we've seen a lot of action right here around midfield, a lot of lineouts.
That was a nice passage of play there for the Old Glory guys.
So we're going to have a hydration break for players. And in this hydration break, we'd like to thank Ayobiyo. Meat Biltong. Ayobiyo's delicious and nutritious alternative. Few hours and hard to chew. Instead, Ayobiyo Biltong is crafted with premium cuts of beef that are seasoned with only a few natural spices and hung to dry for up to 14 days. The result is a tender slice of beef with no sugar and more protein. Say goodbye to Jerky Jaw. Use code OLDGLORY for 20% off your first order at ayobiyo.com.
Guys, the fanfare here is incredible. It's a sellout crowd. First ever professional game in the DC area. As soon as the Beast had his first touch of the ball, and every time he's carried the ball, you hear a loud Beast chant from the crowd. It's really exciting, and it's really helping contribute to the atmosphere. Back to you guys.
I completely agree. I was up here for the exhibition matches with you, Roland, and it was a sold-out stadium there. But that was exhibition. This is where it's real. This is their first real professional rugby match here, and the crowd is really feeling it.
It is literally standing room only around here. This is an amazing crowd. The atmosphere, you can feel it in the air. Probably the hottest ticket in DC or anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic today. And, you know, delighted that it's a complete sellout, and we'll be looking for the same thing all season.
We'll have a line out to Seattle to restart. Shepard off the top, collected by JP Smith. Out to Andrew Duratalo, most recently of Ealing. Seattle's very happy to have him back in the States, as are American rugby fans. Matt Turner goes dancing with Tusitala and leaves him behind. Finally brought down.
Big tackle from the Beast.
And we'll have a knock on.
Wow.
Great covering tackle by Doug Frazier. You can see how quickly that can change. I mean, Tusitala left in the dust by Matt Turner, but again, spilling it right back, Mike.
Yeah, it's been an inconsistent performance for Seattle so far. They've had good bits and pieces, and then some turnovers, some missed lineouts. So they really need to get a little consistency to their game if they want to make more forays into the 22 of Old Glory.
Yeah, several unforced errors, I think, and they'll be definitely disappointed with those. So a lot of it's just mental problems right now, I think, just lack of concentration.
The second scrum goes down before the ball can be put in.
That's where the mind games begin.
And really, this is the last thing that ref Lex Wiener wants. You know, you don't want to keep resetting and having to give out penalties. And, you know, like the fans, you'd like to see a clean engage and a quick in and out.
For sure. He's only going to have so much patience here today.
It's the last thing the Sir wants to do is send a man off. We want this to be an even contest. And we have a free kick taken by Fountain on the Schultz.
Engage.
So the mind games went against Seattle there. Taikato Simpson, dancing feet, out to Tanana, who finds some space. Takes 3 men to bring him down. Sitala, huge charging run by Travis Larson. He's had some decent searching runs in the first half so far. Gordon Fullerton falling forward. A pick by the Beast, trying to find that space. Nakatini out to Lopresti. Lopresti getting brought down by Nakai Penny. Great form tackle. Nakatini tries to get it off.
Oh,
I guess he's saying it was touched by Tusitala. I'm not sure I saw the touch there.
Yeah.
I think the fans have a right to be upset, but again, you know, it's the Sir's call.
Yeah, that only went forward off the turf, so he was a little hard done on that one.
Yeah, I feel for him a little bit there, but you know, referees are only human too.
And you got to say, if you're being tackled by 2 guys, you might have the skill to offload it one-handed, but sometimes it is just best to bring the ball to ground.
Yeah, right now Seattle's probing for space. They've been met by a wall of Old Glory players, so they got to find that space. They may have been right in their first possession. That space may be behind that line, and some chip kicks and some probing kicks may be the way to go.
That's a very good point. I think that the Old Glory defensive line right now has been very, very comfortable. And, you know, Seattle's going to have to do something special to unlock it.
It's like FP Pelser on the ground receiving some attention. Big man, but he's standing up now. So the first scrum was a clear victory for Seattle, earned a penalty. The second scrum resulted in a free kick. What do you imagine is going to happen on the third? Are we going to have the ball come out for a clean restart?
I think we will see whatever happens probably be on Seattle's side.
Well, Seattle put in here. I think that they should be able to get the ball out fairly cleanly.
See what Scott Dean has drawn up for the backs. The last time they were in a set play was that Gary Owen kick that did not fall into their hands. A big drive by Old Glory. This is what the fans came to see. JP Smith cleaning it up, taking a nice hit from Robertson, almost losing his shorts in the process.
That'll give the Old Glory boys some confidence.
Yes, that was exactly the kind of drive you want to see from your revamped front row. Now JP throwing the dummy. Defense not falling for it.
Well, it came out all right, but not as they intended.
Scott Dean stepping in at center. George Barton. It's like a bull. Yeah. So hard to bring down. Get it out to the second row. And he is just crunched by the Beast. The crowd loves that. Robertson read that box kick perfectly. Puts in a kick. No man is there. Knocked on by Scott Dean.
Play on.
But keep going. We have advantage. Nat Turner under serious pressure here by Doug Frazier. And Tusitala takes 2 men on. Seattle has to get back. And we have a penalty.
Wonderful play.
Fantastic play by Old Glory. Completely reversing the field and putting the pressure on Seattle and earning a penalty inside their 22, Roland.
Great defensive work there, and the kick through, but to be able to corral their fullback with Tusitala and Frazier there, creating the turnover with the Beast in the breakdown.
Yeah, and I think it started there with JP's kick. It just wasn't the best of kick, you know, right in the hands.
Yeah, you can see Robertson adjust his run.
Yeah, right into the
before
hands
he
of the
even kicked
fullback.
it.
So wasn't the best of kicks, and they're paying the price for it.
All right, so Old Glory saying
and the
we're not going for 3 points. We're going to go for, I assume, a driving ball. You don't call the Beast in all this way to spin it out to the backs. So here's the pressure from Doug Fraser and Tusitala matching up. Seattle's not having enough men in the ruck to counter Old Glory's pressure.
We'll need to have a big line-out throw here now from the inexperienced Dante Lopresti. There's a lot riding on this throw.
Listen, Seattle's got some tall timber in there.
They sure do.
You know, they're two locks.
It looks like we're having a sub come on shortly. I'm not sure if this is permanent. Jeremy Leinert's coming on. I assume for Peltzer, who was receiving attention. Let's see if that's permanent, possibly HIA or a blood sub. We'll keep our eye on that.
FP Peltzer was definitely feeling some pain there. So,
as you said, inexperienced hooker and Dante Lopresti. Let's see if they keep it easy. Go to the front pod.
There you go.
Well, not as clean as they would have liked, but they have retained the ball, so it's still a win. Fullerton pops to Larson, keeping it in tight. This is definitely going to be a forwards ball. They just want to drive here, try and wear out Seattle. Tusitala finally spinning it out. Back's going to stretch their legs. Robertson throws a dummy, bounces a man, but then bounces the ball off the ground. Beautiful dummy, but again, kind of getting ahead of himself and fumbling the ball.
yeah, you could tell, you know, Robertson's a runner. He sees a gap, he'll take it. He has great acceleration through in there. He's just a little unlucky getting stripped, but he's definitely a threat at the smallest little crack there, Rolly.
He's an absolute live wire, folks, and he was just, again, as you say, he was just a little bit unlucky there. One of the Seattle defenders seemed to get a hand in there and rip that ball, which created the knock-on.
So the last scrum, although it did come out quote-unquote cleanly for Seattle, they were still under some serious pressure. Let's see if the Beast and company can repeat that and turn this over deep in Seattle's territory.
Dangerous spot, much better scrum though.
Reichert taking it off, throwing a dummy, going right at Robertson. Three
Oi!
men over the ball. One man taking on three. Not enough support there, but three men going in. Old Glory had a clear plan there, and it worked.
And look who came up with it. The man who just lost it really tidied up his error. And that's a brave guy in there.
He totally redeemed himself, you're right, but a back taking on Reichert Hadding.
He's a diminutive figure, that number 10, Robertson, but I tell you what, he can tackle and he can jackal.
Now again, going for the line out. You have a seemingly easy 3 points on the board, but they really want to go for the throat here. They want to give this crowd something real to cheer for.
I think at this moment we're seeing a little bit of Old Glory dominance take place, so they've got to try to drive that home and get those extra points on the board.
Again, Lopresti up to Larson. And we've got our maul. Looks like it's brought down, I guess, cleanly, as the forwards are going to keep it in. Leinertz has to get out of there on the wrong side of the ball. And we'll go with another drive. Nakali taking this one up. Nakatini doesn't want to be outdone.
Big rumble.
Just another quick take. Really keeping the ball in tight here. And they've earned advantage. So let's see if they stretch the legs. Let's see what Robertson does with it. Dummies a pass, dummies the kick, and then does pass it to Takato Simpson, who puts a man on his heels. Doug Fraser, he's in try time. Doug Fraser in the corner. Old Glory extending their lead. That beautiful move by Takato Simpson to make the defender sit on his heels, and then he just went right around him and threw the wing in and put Doug Fraser in.
When you're an athlete and you have that many gears at your disposal, to be able to ghost around the defender and then have the wherewithal to release those beautiful pair of hands for Fraser to score in the corner. Wonderful play by Old Glory.
It's a really dangerous combination. Takato Simpson is impossible to tackle one-on-one, so he'll always draw that extra defender. And Fraser, like we alluded to before, can finish. He's a finisher.
Mike, walk me through this replay.
Yep, we see him. He's thinking about the kick, the short ball, and ultimately he gets it into Takato Simpson. And bang. So, again, good composure there by Robertson. He was going to hit the short ball. He thought about the kick, and then it's right to the playmaker.
Good decision maker.
It's not often you go through 3 different reads and have time to do so, but clearly made the best choice on that one.
Yeah.
That's why he's a professional, folks.
As it stands, 13-6. Robertson. This one just goes across the face of the posts. So 13-6. But we've seen a good back and forth here, but Seattle, the past 5-10 minutes, have not been able to withstand the onslaught that Old Glory is giving them.
But, you know, like it was like last week in San Diego, they did not have a lot of possession, Seattle, and it's becoming costly. And the more the team who's, you know, the known underdog, if you will, the longer they stay in it, the more confidence they get. And they
Absolutely, and with this possession that Old Glory are getting, they're going to get the referee on their side as well. Usually the team that has the ball will have more sympathy from the referee.
So Tanana taking another kickoff. Seattle really targeting that area of the field on kickoffs. Not taken cleanly.
Another penalty.
Another penalty, so completely relieving the pressure for Old Glory. And we're getting some more handbags. It's getting real chippy.
Yeah, it's big Brad Tucker.
Brad Tucker doesn't want to be messed with. He thinks he stole the ball cleanly.
Referee thinks differently. That's the only one that counts.
Yeah, the only opinion that matters. But Seattle has to make sure that they don't lose their composure, because the last thing you want to do is get a card, especially when things have been not going your way as they have been.
Yeah, again, last week they had some similar penalty problems. They were giving away chunks of land and possession. So a little bit of the same story again the first half this week.
And the ref talking to Captain Hadding and Tucker, telling them, you need to calm down.
Yeah,
this might be the final warning.
Jason Robertson will just go ahead and relieve the pressure here with a nice kick down the line.
Line out just inside their territory.
I would say Coach Lensing is steaming under that trademark hat of his right now.
He's not going to be too happy with the first half so far, that's for sure.
So the penalty was called. I guess that's what Brad was.
Yeah.
He took exception to being
pulled down.
Pulled down, yes. Now 2 men have possession of it. Sears Duru takes it from Nikali. So Seattle ball. JP Smith going to the short side. Quick hands by Hadding. Sears Duru puts a man on his butt. Nice dummy there and a bump.
Up.
JP Smith.
They look like they were ahead of the line there, and the referee's hand does go up.
Yeah,
so they have
were
advantage
an
to
advantage.
Seattle. JP Smith. Hadding goes for the dummy, gets it off to Stoller. Still playing with advantage. Tucker gets brought down hard. Let's see what Scott's going to do. Shalom throws 2 dummies, and we'll go back to the advantage on the offsides.
Nothing doing there. Again, the Old Glory defense holding strong.
Yeah, this is exactly what Seattle needed. Old Glory were overambitious on that line speed and got offsides. Seattle hasn't been down here in a long time, so they needed this break, and they need to capitalize on it.
I think they just wanted to get their hands back on the ball for a couple of minutes.
They find touch with this penalty kick. Tanana having no chance of keeping it in play.
You know, the guy that they always rely on, you know, game after game, who comes through is Hadding, you know, their captain. There he had a good run on the edge, created a little momentum, and then created that penalty.
As soon as he was USA eligible, he was called into camp, I believe, before the America's Rugby Championship. So he's close to getting his first cap, and I mean, if he keeps on playing like this, you bet he's going to be an Eagle. But now Seattle setting up their maul, getting it back to Shepard. JP Smith driving his forwards.
Again, Old Glory are in pretty good body position there.
And they're rolling off. Old Glory. Fanon Schultz says he's gone through them all cleanly. Referee disagrees. We're playing advantage. And he blows his whistle finally. Let's see if we'll have an extra talking to here.
Yeah, that time Seattle kept their connectivity. You know, they had their composure. They were in control. And Fanon Schultz surely came across illegally, despite what he says.
Again, the referee is the only one that counts there. But Old Glory started, they had pretty good body position, but Seattle were able to turn that maul just slightly and fracture the Old Glory defense. They were lucky they had to bring it down there.
And again, not going for 3 points. Both teams being very deliberate with their possession and going for those tries. Another maul set up by Seattle. Carbon copy of what just happened. But Old Glory getting a good push on. Ref saying use it once. Ball goes to Shalom. Met by 2 men. JP Smith. And the ball, I guess, goes forward. Was that unplayable? Regardless, it's a turnover. It doesn't matter. Old Glory will take it.
Big time turnover on the line, coach.
There was a big hit on Shalom Suliuna on the line, and it was not clean going into that contact area. So that's a big turnover for them.
Well, you think that close. If you're going to hammer it up, you're going to go to Barton, the big guy in the backs. But again, going to Shalom. But again, not going for 3 points, going to the corner, and look how it doesn't pay off.
Interesting tactic there when they set up that maul. They had Barton with the ball in the back, which again didn't allow him to receive the ball when in the back line. Seattle are going to be disgusted with that. They're just turning that ball over with inches to go.
But the pressure is still on. No team should be happy to have a 5-meter scrum on their own line.
It's creaking a little bit.
But Fanana Schultz takes it cleanly.
Well done.
Met by Nakai. Palamo over securing the ball. Robertson sends it back.
Yeah.
That's a man I thought we would hear a lot more from today was Nakai Penny. He's been quite quiet so far. For a 7, that's never a good idea.
So we've got Wing Dome. We keep our priorities straight at the Wing Dome. The wings are served hot. Brew served ice cold, and the game is always on. To order online, visit thewingdome.com.
Well, here, regardless of that turnover and clearance, Seattle needs to keep possession and keep mounting the pressure. If they do that, they'll come away with points at some point.
Overthrown. Lepresti putting the pressure on Scott. I guess it's saying closing the gap, so we'll have a free kick to Seattle.
Yeah, so they caught a break there. But again, they got to capitalize on these breaks.
They're calling for a scrum. Final 3 to 4 minutes of the first half.
It looks like JP Smith, the 9, might be the only scrum half in the world that's taller than the rest of his entire back line.
Yeah, there's size all over the back line. Specifically with Barton and, of course, your 9, which, yes, is very uncommon.
Yeah. But, you know, they have power and pace there in the center, so it'll be interesting to see if they go with those or possibly bring in the wing.
Finally a scrum that doesn't move too much.
That's
a charging run by Barton puts Kieran Hearn on his back. And we're going to go a penalty against Old Glory. They thought they had a clean grasp on the ball, but they did not release the man.
And that's a trademark starter move for Seattle, just that blocker play off Shalom Suniola. And that time, Big George Barton, you're right, ran into his countryman, Kieran Hearn, and took him for a ride.
Barton's definitely feeling it, though. He took a big hit there himself.
Yeah, he's holding the shoulder. And unlike the past couple penalties, Seattle's going to settle things down and go for 3 points. Just try and get any momentum they can before halftime.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this. You know, again, a team of composure, take some points. One thing that I thought at that point, they need a little boost maybe to their game and maybe a quick tap at that penalty because Old Glory were standing there.
Well, now we're just coming up on halftime. I say you got to take the points, get in. You know, you're just down. You know, hopefully they're going to be down 13-9 going into halftime. That's very doable for the second half.
Brock Stoller successful on 2 kicks so far. Does it soar through? It does. 13-9. Stoller having all of the points for Seattle right now.
Well, that's no surprise. He was last year's MLR leading scorer, and he has, like Rolly alluded to before, he's got a cannon of a boot. One thing that Seattle has done very well all day today is catch their restarts.
Correct.
That's a vital part of the game, and they were contested restarts, so really well done in their part.
Seattle in no rush here. It's like JP Smith going for the box kick, telling his forwards he needs some cover. high kick.
Great.
Takato Simpson takes it very well. Old Glory getting reset. Tusitala recycling the ball. Let's see if they're going to spin it out wide. Hearn sees some space, puts the ball deep, gets a good bounce. Scott Dean can't gather it right off the bat. He's got a lot of men from Old Glory in front of him. JP Smith sends it out of a line out around midfield.
It's probably the half, guys.
That's a booming kick from Smith.
Yes, it's halftime. 13-9, your halftime score. We'll have a quick break, and then we'll come back with the first half highlights. Find out if Old Glory will hold its clinics in your area. Go to oldglory.com, oldglorydc.com, and check out the regional rugby calendar presented by Sheehy Auto Stores. All right, Mike.
Well,
so we saw a lot of highlights in the first half. Walk me through what went right for Seattle.
Well, they always have Matt Turner. He can always do damage, find some seams. And the scrum, while at times they creaked, generally they've been able to dominate at times. They have their trouble, but they're still winning ball, which is the important thing here. At the end of the half, we had Barton getting through and creating a penalty opportunity. On defense, they're still being put under pressure from DC. Here we see Robertson getting through because two men froze in their tracks and they weren't able to cover. And here, just a beautiful play by Roberts and a great finish by Takato Simpson, drawing two men. Turner's in no man's land.
So it's great vision by Takato Simpson right there, Roland. What's going right for Old Glory that they've been able to reverse since last week?
Well, if we go back to the key factors that we talked about earlier, they clearly have done a lot of work in those scrums. We had one poor scrum, we went but then they went right back, solidified that, and have been on the front foot pretty much ever since after that first big scrum that they had. The confidence that must have given them must have been a real boost. Again, the Old Glory backline are getting the ball, guys. With that, they're looking really dangerous, and they've scored two fantastic tries.
We'll take another short break. When we get back, we'll take a second half outlook and see what both teams need to do to remain on top. Valley Shine Distillery, home of Benjamin's Bourbon, best experienced in person. ValleyShineDistillery.com. Hashtag Together We Shine. So we saw a lot in that first half. It was a game of tides. Old Glory had a lot of pressure early on. Seattle fought back and had possession for a decent amount of time. Kind of ended on a high note for Seattle, but neither team really, well, here's the game summary right here. 2 tries to 0 tries. Mike, walk me through what this really breaks down to.
Well, I think that we have to give credit to Old Glory. They're putting pressure on. Good teams don't just make mistakes. Seattle has made them, but they're being pressured. And give DC credit. They're doing their work.
Considering how last week went, Old Glory went down to New Orleans and lost to NOLA Gold pretty handily. What have they been able to do to reverse that fortune here?
Again, first of all, this home crowd is really electrifying, and it's really allowing the Old Glory boys, giving them that extra 5 to 10% there. But I have to be honest, the scrums right now are the big factor.
All right, so we'll have a short break, and the second half will kick off when we come back. Before we get off with the second half here, we're going to throw it down to Brianna. Brianna, what is the atmosphere like, and how is this going to affect Seattle in the second half?
Guys, there's a definite home court or home field advantage, At the end of that half, Seattle only came out with 3 PKs. They have not scored any tries yet, and that was due to the huge defensive stand that Old Glory had, and that was the fans were screaming down there, and so to come out in the second half with that momentum, that's what Old Glory needs to carry out to victory. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Brianna. Seattle not really used to being kept out of the try zone. They're still in the match, Mike. What do they have to do in the second half to sort of reverse their fortune and get some tries on the board? Because against Old Glory with the beast on their side, it's going to take more than penalty kicks to come out on top.
I think clearly it's sustained pressure. They have to keep the ball. They have to put pressure on Old Glory. We didn't think we'd say this, but Old Glory has been putting pressure on them. So they need to absorb pressure and put it back to Old Glory. and play the game in their end, deep in their end, which they haven't been in often.
Roland, we've seen this trend for 2 weeks now. Last week, when Rooney lost their opening match, you know, all the pundits think one team is going to win, and then we all end up being shocked. I think coming into this match, a lot of people thought Seattle was going to be on top, defending Major League Rugby champions. Close loss to San Diego, who has some serious star talent on their side. This is not what most people expected.
Well, also, I think you're seeing that this could be a week-to-week type of league. You know, obviously last week also we didn't have the Beast, and then that confidence factor. The Old Glory boys are playing at home finally in front of their home crowd. They're giving a max effort. We've seen 2 beautiful tries scored, and I think we're going to be in for another exciting second half from the guys.
As we see the Beast himself, Mtawarira, taking the field. He doesn't look gassed whatsoever. He looks as spry as when the game started.
No, and I think that the Old Glory players get inspired by that composure coming out of the locker room. A guy who's been there for the Springboks in Super Rugby World Cup finals. So, hey, to him, it's just another day on a paddock.
Oh, yeah, another day in the office, and he's really enjoying it. And you're right, his teammates are really feeding off of that. And we'll see who's going to be that beacon for Seattle in the second half. Who's going to be the one that fires their team up? You know, we see that a lot from Reichert Hadding, as you mentioned earlier, but also Andrew Duratalo, someone who's, you know, sort of your junkyard dog. He can do everything. He can outrun someone, but he can also jackal right after a tackle.
Yeah, you know, a couple of other things, guys. This is Andrew's first game back on with the team, or I shouldn't say back, but just joining. The other thing is Seattle last year had a really mixed start. You know, they didn't come up to a quick start last year.
Before we get to the second half, a word from our sponsors. Exiles Bar is the official DC area watch party bar of Old Glory. Located at 1610 U Street Northwest. Drink specials, big screens, projectors carrying each away game. We will see you at Exiles Bar, the official DC area watch party bar for Old Glory.
I was there last week.
But right now we had a home match, so everyone should hopefully be here. And it's a full stands. VIP area also looks full as well. And Scott Dean is going to get us started with the second half. No one from Old Glory really wanting that one. Cleanly taken, uncontested by Seattle.
That was
Brad
very
Tucker
strange.
just getting up high. Maybe they didn't think the ball was going 10, but it was about 3 or 4 meters past the line. But it doesn't matter. He spills the beans right back.
I tell you, 2 mistakes. So we talked about the importance of kickoffs, and you're right, DC was frozen on that, but a mistake right out of the box, and that's not how they wanted to start.
That was a very unusual play to begin the game. I have never seen that before where the team was just frozen and the ball went past the 10-meter line, but they got away with it. A quick knock on there, and we got a scrum down.
Yeah, it didn't look like anyone was saying your man, or my ball, anything like that, as we'll have another scrum. We've had a lot of action between the 10, a lot of lineouts here around midfield, a lot of scrum downs. It seems to be where both teams are settling in, before they can launch their attack.
Well, a big break for Old Glory. Let's see if they can capitalize, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to.
But it's a penalty to Seattle.
Yeah, that one looked quite easy.
So a crapshoot when we're talking about scrum time here. We don't know if it's going to come out cleanly, free kick, or a penalty. We can't find a rhythm here. Either team can't.
Well, that's early season rugby for you.
Brock Stoller saying we're going to go for a quick 3. Anytime you can get any points on the board in the first 2 minutes of the second half, it's a good sign. But clearly not going for the line out. They're going to count their blessings while they can.
Yeah, and you know the bonus points playing big into teams going for the corner, and there's momentum. But you know what? There's something to be said about chipping away when you get your chances to keep the scoreboard rolling.
Especially if you're the away team, you just want to try and grind out that result. And sometimes taking the 3 points is the best way to do that.
They might have heard me at half saying that they're going to need more than penalty kicks to beat Old Glory. Maybe they're going to try and just do just that, make me eat my words.
Wouldn't be the first time a commentator got jinxed.
The confident man has all 9 points for the Seawolves. It has the distance. Is it accurate enough? And it is. Old Glory's lead chipped away. Now it's only 1 point, 13-12 Seattle. So the first one to get points on the board, momentum is in their, on their side.
Well, they had 2 strokes of momentum. They had a dominant scrum there. They had points on the board. They had a turnover in the middle of that, but they made up for it with that scrum penalty. And, you know, sometimes those bonus points, sometimes they get in the way of your tactics, and sometimes it's just about winning the game.
Well, that was an awful start for Old Glory there. They'll be looking to wash that one out of their memory banks and just get on with the second half now.
So Turner takes that, finds Hadding very quickly. Of course, the back wants to give it to the forward.
That's a good forward to give it to.
The box kick. Seattle's utilizing their box kick after kickoffs deep in their territory, where it seems like the Old Glory is using their fly half to try and find space. But
well,
box kick working for them there is Hadding. Finds Scott, who finds Barton. There's space out there for Matt Turner. He cuts back inside. Briefly touched around the neck, but no high shot called. JP Smith.
Penalty advantage.
He did put his hand up.
Going to Duratalo. Now Mike Shepard knifes the defense. He has support from Duratalo. Duratalo so close to the line. He's going to spin out to Hadding. Hadding is over for the try. 2 quick strikes by Seattle, and they are now on top. So great connecting play right there. Great support by multiple players, but Hadding the one finding and bagging the meat.
I tell you, that was a clinical try. It was an absolute perfect box kick, a contestable by JP Smith. It was turned over by, or knocked on by Old Glory, and then a few beautiful phases side to side, and they just played immaculate rugby there.
Well, Dylan Dicato Simpson will definitely want that one back. That was the ball that dropped down to him, and he wasn't able to gather it. That caused all the trouble. And from there, Seattle were able to counter-attack, and in the space of a few seconds, they were over the line.
Yeah, and you know, guys, we talked early near halftime about take pressure on you and put it into the opposition. That's exactly what they did. A 20-meter box kick, contested, put them under pressure. They got the result.
It doesn't seem like Old Glory has a response to that box kick after the kickoff. You know, I think a lot of teams try and relieve all of that pressure and get as much space between them and the ball as possible. But Seattle's obviously found something that works, and it's that box kick.
You know, when it's done well and executed right, it gets results. It did once or twice in the first half when it was done right, and it did there.
Again, guys, though, all these points are coming off Old Glory unforced errors. And that's going to be the point that Andrew Douglas, the coach, is going to scream at them this week.
And Brock Stoller adds 2 more points to his tally. Sunday, March 8th at Cardinal Stadium on the campus of Catholic University, Rugby ATL versus Old Glory. Convenient metro access and plenty of parking. Go to oldglorydc.com and purchase your tickets. Rugby ATL playing later today against NOLA, but they had a big win in their opening match last weekend against Utah.
And there's a good clearance. Listen, I tell you, I know Old Glory's had a couple of punches here in the beginning of this half, but no problem. It's still only a 6-point game, and they can't feel quickly that they're chasing the game. They have talent. They've been playing a good game. Just keep their composure and focus by their playmakers.
And here should be their first bit of possession, but they've lost it. Well, we have a whistle as well. Let's see what the call is.
I feel like that's the same issue the referee called earlier, the closing in on the gap.
Before the throw, so no free kick. This one goes better. Tusitala able to gather it. Nice flick pass. Gets to Robertson, who's hit immediately after gathering the ball. Tusitala slowing the ball down. Nakatini going forward. Takali, my apologies. Tusitala getting swallowed up right next to the ruck. Messy ball here for Old Glory, but they're able to retain it. Falling forward. Forwards waiting. Tusitala to dig the ball out of there. Sometimes it is difficult. The Beast getting it. Brought down. And Barton immediately going over the ball and turning it over. Sears Duru cleaning it up for Seattle. Nice pick on the side. Threaten Palamos calling for support. Quick, an overload. Brock Stoller finds space. Robertson can't bring him down. Pass it inside to Shalom. Martin over the ball. JP Smith out to Scott. We're going wide here. Duratalo stiff arms a man. And he's finally brought down. We've got a whistle. Unsure what the call is. Is it a possible offsides? But we're going back pretty far. I guess the touch judge called something in. So a late hit. It looked a little bit clean from the against the scrum half, but the side judge.
I'll tell you,
that
was a very smooth sequence by Seattle, and they're really starting to get a rhythm in this first half. You see Shalom Sunyula found the space out wide, a big gain there, and you also saw down there pressure on the ball from Hatting. And they've come up with a little fire in their engine there.
It looks like we got a couple of changes there on the Seattle side, guys. It looks like Timothy Metcher has come in there in the 18 jersey, and Sitoveni Tamaivina in 23.
Tim Metcher is not a bad guy to bring off the bench at tight head prop.
George Barton took a big hit there earlier, so he's taken a seat along with El Nicky, the tight head.
It looks like Duratalo was receiving attention, but he's slowly walking back toward the Seattle huddle. They did point to the post, so they're going to go for a penalty kick.
This is just a chip shot for Brock Stoller.
and listen, they've established a lead now, and now they're just going to want to keep building on that lead and make DC more desperate in their play.
I guess I misspoke. It looked like they pointed towards the posts, but they are going for a line out. It does seem like a pretty straightforward kick for a guy like Brock Stoller, but when you've got your team rolling like they have, 2 quick scores, and we've got an injury replay, we'll see what happened. So he gets it out to Duratalo. Can't see what happened there. He looked like he was brought down pretty cleanly.
It's hard to tell there, but we'll pass along any information that we get.
So Old Glory stealing possession. Robertson takes it off his face, but still has the wherewithal to boot it to Turner. The chase needs to get there quicker for a guy like Turner. He's going to exploit the gap. Goes right by Palamo. Gets it to Shalom. It was passed forward. So Palamo not bringing him down right off the bat, but if you stick with it, you can still cause a turnover.
Yeah, listen, Matt Turner, he just needs an inch and he's through. He had a tremendous back end of the season last year to help guide Seattle into the championship. And right through, 2 men.
You can see where he's using that old sevens experience, the top scorer of all time for the English sevens team. So he's been taking the corner for quite a while.
It's really hard to beat that acceleration into a gap that Turner gives you. I'll give credit to Threat and Palama, who continued to chase him down.
He stuck to it, yeah.
And it looks like Duratalo is going to exit the field. And speaking of impact subs, when you have Eric Duchel coming on the field, you're not really losing a whole lot. You're just trading one athletic freak for another.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. We have a unique situation here. We have one beast coming in to match up with another beast.
That's very true.
So this is what they could say the original American beast.
Beast squared.
The toddler beast.
I don't think we have to thrash this one, but
I'll take our beast.
So a little bit early to bring on subs strategically, but it looks like some injuries might be forcing their hand. And that is a huge steal. A big push by Seattle to steal it from Old Glory against the head. As they go out wide to Suniula, Doug Frazier matching up. Palamo bringing him down. But still breaking the gain line, going to the short side. It's like Brad Tucker. JP Smith finding Jeremy Leinertz, who came in for Pelser, so I guess Pelser went off permanently. An interception! This is Mungo Mason. Does Mungo Mason have the speed? Nakai Penny, 7-on-7, brings him down. Did he touch his shoulder? That would have been a high tackle. What's going to happen here? Getting a little messy. We've got a penalty against Seattle. That is the spark
It's
that
got to be a yellow
needed
card,
from
guys.
Mungo Mason. Yeah, the Sir is reaching into his pocket. clearly killing the ball. It looked like there was some contact off of the ruck to keep Old Glory from securing it.
That's a red. That's a red card. Oh, no.
Oh, sorry,
He just
it was a mistake the first time. So Nakai Penny, the veteran for Seattle, going off. But Mungo Mason really injecting the energy into Old Glory.
Well, it's funny. Seattle had such a rhythm going, and I was about to say that Old Glory has really got to do something, some big moment, some big play, and right there.
This is the third or fourth major line break that we've seen Mungo Mason take this season, obviously including the preseason. So we know he's fully capable of those intercepts.
Yeah, you had a big play there. Full credit to Penne, chasing him down over 50 meters and getting onto it.
We hadn't called his name much today, but he was an important factor there. But unfortunately for him, I think he'll be happy enough to give the yellow card there if he only gives away 3 points.
And listen, he was only a tick away from a penalty to Seattle. He was up and over that ball very quickly.
Robertson easily slots the penalty, 19-16. Seattle maintains the lead, but Old Glory chipping away, and a man in the bin for 10 minutes. This is the crucial time. Old Glory really needs to put their foot on the pedal here. And you can see the interception breaks the tackle from Shalom. He has some serious pace on him for a big guy. I mean, outrunning several backs. Now let's see what Nakai, not able to support his weight. It looks like he is just...
Yeah. He lost his footing there.
Right after that sequence, he loses his footing and goes down.
Robertson recovering it and sending it right back.
Nice kick.
So again, right back around midfield. This is where we've seen a lot of action. You know, no team really wanting to play from within their half.
Yeah, so the pack for Seattle will be down a man, their open side flanker, and this is where Old Glory have got to keep their composure, play smart, take advantage of their one-man advantage.
So Mike Shepard into the back pod. Smith to Dean. Joey Iosefa, previously played for Houston, has NFL experience, one of the bigger centers you're going to find in the league. So when you lose George Barton, but you put in Joey Iosefa, I don't think anyone really notices. A huge looping pass goes down right to McCauley, but I believe an offsides has been called against Old Glory. That was too good to be true.
We're looking at an offsides here. Yeah, Youssef he's a big fella. He's a load, and you're right. Getting Barton off and Youssef on. But that's what the Seattle team is loaded with impact reserves. You know, we haven't even seen Billy yet.
Big bodies as well. They're all big men on that Seattle team.
So
Mike, we've got a replay geared up for the offsides to really see what happened, because it looked like Old Glory was about to dot 5 points more down for them.
Yeah, and this is the second time that we've seen the offsides from Old Glory.
I didn't see much there, guys.
Which man was it?
Marginal. Certainly wasn't as clear as the first one they had.
No.
And this is exactly what Seattle would want.
I think
slow down the clock, maybe get some points out of it.
So similar field position when they opted for the line out last time, but they're going to go for 3, try and negate the penalty that they just gave up on the other end.
Well, and you can milk 1.5 to 2 minutes out of this with the ensuing kickoff. So a big break for Seattle.
This is almost straight down the field. No angle whatsoever. You have Matt Houston waiting to come on, so reinforcements coming on as Seattle puts 3 more points on the board, and Matt Houston coming on for Jameson Schultz. Schultz recently got his first 2 caps with the Eagles, a very young player, but Houston is on his third team in MLR. He's very in demand. You know, he's not a journeyman. Teams are really targeting him. I don't know. It seems that Travis Larson is coming off. Fauna Schultz is staying on.
That makes a little more sense.
Yes.
Houston will just slot straight into the flanker position there.
Travis Larson putting in a nice shift. Now let's see if Seattle uses the box kick again. They do.
It's more of a clearing kick than a traditional contestable box kick.
And they're switching the field.
It's the old Mike Petrie.
Robertson bounces right to Turner. He's weighing his options. Decides to give it up to J.P. Smith. who kicks it pretty much the exact same place where it came from.
This is not the
See
man
what
you want to kick to.
Taikato Simpson does. Puts the goose step on him, tries to get by, gets the offload to Doug Frazier. Doug Frazier is tackled out of bounds.
I think there you saw some really good composure. They got the ball. They knew what they had to do, not playing their end. And you had Stoller or Turner get it across to the left footer, kicked it down in the line. Chase was immaculate.
Nice little exit strategy.
So their exits and their kicking game and chase game have been excellent this half.
Seattle come out of this in the second half playing much better stuff.
Shepard with the throw in. Duchel down to Smith. Scott doesn't pass it. Both men running right past him. Maybe some confusion there, but Brad Tucker charging forward. Now JP Smith. Brad Tucker doesn't think he was held. Gets right back up. Now we have Aruck and Shalom taking it, getting it out to Scott, who runs right by Nakali, but brought down by Threaten.
Yeah, Nakali jumped out of the line there, took a gamble.
Shalom again. Shalom stepping in at 10. Tanana doing a good job of putting pressure on there, almost intercepting the ball. Brad Tucker hobbling a little bit. He's a very crucial player. Seems to be some broken play here. Sears Duru trying to settle things down. No 9 in there, the ball's out. Huge play by Bungo Mason. Nakali looking for the offload, but instead goes to ground. Houston out to Palamo. To Simpson.
Beautiful.
There's no man back there. Will they get a bounce? Busby under some serious pressure. And
well
look
played.
how quickly the field can reverse.
Wonderful
Now,
play.
Yes, it's going to be an Old Glory line-out down there. The crowd is getting behind their team, but how quickly things can change.
Well, I'll tell you what happened there is Shalom Suliula is a wonderful playmaker and a smart player, but throwing a few long, loopy passes when they're down a man isn't the way to go, especially in midfield.
It's not intelligent play for sure. But once the Old Glory guys get their hands on the ball, I mean, that was great play there. And the kick down the line from Taikato Simpson, marshaled there by Dougie Frazier. Let's see if we can get this line out correct.
Now Sears Duru coming off the field, capped Canadian international.
I think they, Seattle put themselves under pressure, and DC took advantage of that. And it was beautiful hands down the edge and a kick to put them into pressure.
Here we go.
Go to the front pad. Matt Houston setting them all. Now it's back in Gordon Fullerton's hands. Tusitala spinning it out. Hearn trying to knife the defense. Let's see if the forwards keep it in close. Playing this one close to the chest. I believe the arm is out for advantage.
Sure is.
Now let's see if they get playful with it. You've got a man calling for a kick out wide. A nice spinning pass to Roberts. Tanana dotting it down in the corner. Try time. Renata Roberts Tanana, one of the best names in MLR, dotting it down for 5 points.
The man from Rotorua.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt Turner took a chance there, and he was an inch away from it. But if you come out of the system, you have to end it on defense.
We've seen that's about the third time today, twice on the Seattle side and then once on the Old Glory side. But at least this time, the Old Glory guys were able to capitalize and score in the corner.
So we saw Seattle with some serious pressure around midfield. You had that errant pass, you had the turnover, you had the gashing kick that went out of bounds. And in a matter of, 3 phases, Old Glory's dotting down in the corner.
Yeah, I would say that they're ruining some of that decision-making and play options in the midfield. Probably kicking it down into a corner would have been the game.
I think you can see the Seattle boys down under the posts there, and they're giving it to each other there because that wasn't it wasn't complimentary rugby when you're down in a yellow card situation. But here we go with the toughest kick in the book.
Yep. On the sideline. Robertson actually standing out of bounds on this kick.
What a kick!
Beautiful kick. 2 points. Gives Old Glory the lead. 23-22 as we have our water break. So just Just when you think Seattle's pulling away a little bit.
Listen to this
The
crowd.
Crowd's going wild. Iron Vine Security is a proud sponsor of Old Glory. The connected world is a safer place for Old Glory fans thanks to Iron Vine Security. Iron Vine provides cutting-edge cybersecurity solutions for enterprises across the U.S. and around the world. At Iron Vine, we are driven by purpose to solve the toughest security challenges so you can stay at the top of your game. We'd also like to thank Supply Room. The Supply Room is a proud sponsor of Old Glory DC. No matter what your office needs, we can get it to you with next-day shipping and unbeatable prices. Choosing your one-stop office supplier is as easy as visiting www.thesupplyroom.com. So as we enter the final 20 minutes, I'm going to ask you both a question, starting with you, Mike. What does Seattle need to do to regain momentum after just getting the lead back early on in the half and then spilling it away at the 60th-minute mark?
Yeah, they have to play smart rugby. You know, they came out the first 10 minutes playing that way, and then they threw the ball, you know, in questionable passes, low percentage passes. They were looking real smooth in the beginning of the half. They have to get high percentage ball.
All right, so Roland, how does Old Glory keep Seattle off their game?
Well, I would like to get one more quick score with this yellow card would be a great way to begin. But getting their hands on the ball, controlling the momentum from here on out and just grind out that result. We just need to get a win any way possible here.
Another sub has entered the field, Dylan Petersay of Old Glory. Jake Turnbull on as well. Robertson. With a big kick launching it to around midfield.
That's a good exit, and that's the type of ball and decisions they have to make.
All right, the yellow card is up, but the damage has been done. Nakai Petting entering the field, but losing the lead, there's a crucial penalty and a yellow card there.
So they were +7 on that yellow, and that's what you want to do.
Yep.
Looks like Jope Motakane is on for JP Smith.
Looks like we got a full penalty there on the Old Glory team at the line-out.
The lineup from Seattle was not straight.
My apologies, I believe it's Joppy in for JP Smith at 9. All right, so I have a line out to Old Glory.
Interestingly, chose the line-out and not the scrum, guys.
Obviously comfortable with this new hooker, Dante Lopresti, throwing in.
He's been having one hell of a game, the Capital Selects and Potomac Exile player.
Probably one of their cleaner lineouts on the day. And they're marching forward is Tusitala. Appears to be box kicking, and he is. Goes extremely high, maybe 20 meters downfield, and Busby taking that like the brave man he is.
That's a wonderful take on a challenging kick.
That's one of the hardest things to do in rugby is to take a contested kick.
Whoa,
like
we
that.
got it.
That was
Mungo
a
Mason.
huge hit. Petersay just entered the game, already touching the ball. Beast has it. He wants contact. You don't earn the nickname the Beast by passing it. Robertson thought he saw some space, but Busby right there just inside the 22, so he will take a mark, and he takes it quickly. Didn't really let his team get set.
Looks like he rushed it. I don't think that was a particularly good kick.
It's like he called the mark and then changed his mind.
Well, listen, he wasn't awarded the mark.
Yes.
He took it. Nothing happened from the referee's part, so he had to play through smartly. But a little strange sequence there.
Touch judge Mike O'Brien might be a little generous there.
Another Old Glory line out. 1 point lead. Nice.
Beautiful
Nice throw in to the back pod. Nice pop to Doug Frazier as well. Tusitala to Matt Houston. Matt Houston went from playing center at club rugby to working out his way into the forwards as Busby boots it back downfield.
And Old Glory are playing smart ball here.
Yeah.
They're putting them deep in their own end and putting pressure.
We're starting to see lots of the kicking options as well. We've seen Tusitala with the box kick. That was Hearn with the grubber through. Robertson is controlling the game, taking the ball up further to the line and then cutting it back to their centres. We're starting to see Old Glory start to change it up a little bit here tactically.
Overthrown,
and they're winning their
but still retained. Taken by Jake Turnbull.
They're winning their lineouts, which is massive, consistently.
Yep, it's what you have to do.
Peterson going up. Takali inching forward. A nice dummy. Mason just having a thriller of a match. Robertson out to Threaten. Threaten throws the dummy, brings 2 men in. Quick recycle.
Good rhythm
Jameson
here
fought
by
on Schultz. Yeah, great rhythm. Finding their stride here, Tusitala. Is that Mason again? The man has endless energy. That's a nice collision there. But Fanana Schultz falling forward, breaking the gain line. You've got Threaten hanging out, hiding here on the wing. And Robertson is going to kick it to him.
Oh!
Just too high. Threaten claiming that Brock Stoller touched it.
Threaten may have touched it last, though.
We'll have a short discussion.
I tell you, and that's what DC has to do at this point in the game. They had a great rhythm. No rush to do anything. Seattle's under all the pressure there.
So here's the replay.
And this is what Robertson does so well. Hard to tell from that angle.
I guess what the touch judge is saying is that it was touched by Threaten, but it was also knocked forward out of bounds. So Seattle has the option of going for a scrum or line out. The way things have been going, you're obviously going to choose a scrum.
Nice little moment there with Danny Tusitala playing catch with the ball boy.
Well, we'll see if Seattle tries to milk a penalty out of this and get him a 50.
That is exactly what they'll be looking to do here.
Get out of jail free card.
Choppy with his first scrum.
That one's dropping on the right side.
That was never going to stay up.
So we have a couple replacements in the front row, but the beast is still in.
You're not getting rid of him today.
Just landed on Thursday, and he's going to put in a full shift here, I bet. And he'll probably have enough energy to go for a sprint after.
And Matt Houston on for Old Glory is one of the fittest guys in the team. He certainly was that way last year in New York, and he's a good reserve to bring out at this point in the game.
His level of fitness is always very high. No matter when I ever saw him, he's always got a great engine.
All right, free kick to Seattle. An early drive by Old Glory. Not what they would have wanted, but a free kick is better than a full arm penalty.
Scrum again, yeah.
Yeah, would have.
Not the best kick that they would have liked.
I know you're playing a little with fire in your own end, taking another scrum, but it's been pretty dominant.
You got to back yourself.
Yeah.
So I guess when Joppy came on at scrum half, instead of J.P. Smith going off, J.P. Smith slotted in a 10, and Scott Dean is now out.
You know, it's funny. Was that really a reward for Old Glory? Or for Seattle, I should say.
You can see a little bit of wind on the touch judge's flag.
Well, we have
might try and keep it tight to go to the front pod.
We
got
got Max Lomman at hooker there.
Tusitala fakes the pass, trying to run between his men, gets out to Robertson finally. Fanana Schultz throws a shoulder in Iosefa. That's a pretty even matchup. Tusitala keeping it on the far side. Another recycle. Nice charge up by the defense.
That's a good hit by Metcher.
A one-handed offload finds Frazier. Seattle has to roll away quicker than that.
They're a little offsides
Threaten
there
has
on the
it.
side.
Gets it to Dylan. Dylan switches back inside with Fanana Schultz. Looks like a no wrap tackle on his legs, but no call. See Beast driving, using the leg drive there. Tusitala dropping it, but going backwards. No scrum half. As Mungo gets taken down by J.P. Smith.
Seattle are absorbing a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, they're taking all the body blows. Nakali trying to find some space.
Yeah.
A penalty.
Yes.
So I could see what he was going for there, and it looked like
Quick
it was a
one,
little
boys.
bit open.
Quick one.
Oh, so he went quick. Takali has the ball. Were they back 10? Tusitala finding number 17, Jake Turnbull. Robertson out to the beast, pops it to Fontana Schultz. He doesn't want to go down at all.
It's a lot of hard
that
yards.
Leg drive,
Whoa.
that just wears a defense out, and that's somewhat demoralizing as Nakali
And right here,
falls forward again.
if Old Glory plays smart, they can come out of this with points.
Robertson trying to switch field. When in doubt, give it to the beast. Advice to live by. Tusitala getting it out. Almost went for the drop goal, looks like, but Robertson drops the ball. Takes a monster of a hit, just gets walloped.
I think
And he's holding his leg.
He may have wished he took that drop kick.
Yeah, it looks like he's a little cramped there.
Cramping up, getting some attention on the field. So, as you mentioned, Mike, Seattle doing a great job of absorbing 2 to 3 minutes of what seemed like 10 to 15 phases.
Well, two things happened there. Game management is really critical for Old Glory now. They took a quick tap there that they didn't really have to. And here they were going with the forwards really well and maybe should have kept it in there. Seattle's a tired team. They are not launching off the line like they had been. And they are absorbing and soaking tackles. So
It's an excellent point. The momentum right now is with the guys wearing white, and you know, again, that was probably the most phases we've seen Old Glory go through this season. Wonderful play, bashing it up front, controlling the clock. We got a few. Some extra subs coming in here as well for Seattle. They're going to need some fresh legs, I think.
We're going to go down to Brianna to see what's going down there on the field real quick.
Guys, it is loud down here. There's about 10 minutes left in the game. We're up. Old Glory is up by 1 point. The crowd is getting raucous. Both benches, both coaches are getting furious with some of the calls that may be going back and forth. It's a really close game. It's going to come right down to the wire. See who can keep their composure the best. Back
The
to you
fans
guys.
are really being treated to a show here. I know they want to win, but this is just flat out great rugby. So Billy Tolatau just came on the field. Tell me about him and how he was seemingly discovered in MLR.
I tell you, Billy is an impact player. He had an unfortunate leg break last year, kept him out most of the season. He was in the Eagles pool. Usually a flanker, but being slowly converted to hooker. And he's a great impact player.
Another member of the MLR all-hair team.
Probably should be number one.
I
Not
don't
just
know.
not just prop, but
I'm not sure about that. There's a few contenders out there. And our own Threaten Palomo, Declan O'Donnell, who we haven't seen yet, has the New Zealand mullet, the ginger mullet, if you wouldn't smile.
Well, that is definitely a throwback hairstyle.
I'm partial to Tusitala's bleached blonde hair. Again,
The Odell Beckham look.
yeah, that's how you know he's fast. All right, let's see if this scrum can settle down. Oh, boy, looking for a shove.
You don't get frosted tips if you're not fast. It's kind of a rule.
Choppy drops the ball, but we have a penalty.
It looks
I
like
wonder what the call was.
It looks like it got knocked down. I know we were blocked out here, but I think it was the pass was knocked.
So Old Glory is just bailing Seattle out right there. They were under some serious pressure in that scrum.
I'm not sure if he broke off early or it was.
Now they're still on their side of the field, but it's been a while since Seattle has crossed the 50 at all.
Yeah, this is where Seattle's got to make a move. It's certainly not desperate times, but we're in the last period of the game.
All right, so the Beast is finally getting a break, and Will Vakalahi is getting some action. And you can hear the crowd clapping him off.
What an
He has to be happy with his
What an
performance.
incredible shift from the big man after only getting in here on Thursday, and he played 70 minutes.
And,
Unbelievable.
Right when he landed, he went to his press conference, so didn't even go find a hotel room to take a nap. He's been all nonstop.
Oh.
And that is a nice steal. A bit of a gamble to go for that back pod when you finally have some momentum going your way.
Sure was, and your backup hooker.
Mason, just so much energy. Tusitala
So
finding
handsome.
Robertson. Looking for some space. Matt Turner under no pressure at all. And he's not going to kick it. He's going to, right after he leaves the 22.
Good wall of defense
It's
from
brought
Old
down.
Glory.
Choppy out to JP Smith to Shalom. Shalom trying to find a gap. Almost breaks the arm tackle. JP Smith. Reichert to Shalom. To Villy, getting his first real touch.
And I'll tell you what, Seattle's got to be careful of playing too many phases in this end.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not worth it, and
There
you're
you
exactly
go.
right.
Oh, advantage.
But advantage is still going, tackled out, but you're exactly right. You know, sometimes too much possession in your own half is a dangerous thing.
I tell you, I know they're down and they're getting towards the end of the game, but there is still plenty of time. They're only 1 point down. Territory is more important here.
Right, absolutely. Right now, you've got to be down in that half. Old Glory are looking a little bit quite comfortable right now, you know, in their defensive setup and scheme, and they're going to be delighted to be playing down in the Seattle half with or without the ball.
So Kieran Hearn seems to be down. This is a big issue as Old Glory really only have 2 true backs on their bench. Injuries have been hurting both teams, and you can see Brad Tucker is walking very gingerly, and right at scrum time, that's going to be a big deal as well.
In a pinch, Matty Houston can play in the centres, so, you know, it all is not lost if that were to happen.
Yeah, they have some options there. I would say that they'll probably bring in Mike Dabulus.
Or bump Fraser in.
Yep, they'll bump Fraser in, so they have some options.
Yeah, I believe Dabulus is about to enter the field. Or Hearn doesn't want to come off. You can see it on his face. He wants to finish this match out. He's put in a huge shift.
Well, he sees a potential monumental win on the offing. So
Hearn is from Newfoundland, guys. They do not, they do not breed, you know, diminutive figures there.
This is a summer day for him.
Indeed.
yeah, this is like South Florida.
All right, let's see who can
Guys
get
made
the
it a
upper hand
granite.
in a scrum. The last 6.5 minutes of the match. The scrum hasn't always been clean. And the push going on, almost
There it
stolen.
is.
And the ball
Oh.
pops out. Cleaned up by Mungo Mason, but he's by himself, and it's ripped
Stolen.
by Joppy. A beautiful steal. The scrum half stealing it from the flank. Doesn't happen very often, but look at that defense.
Great line speed.
Just gobbled up the man.
Ready, and they're up again.
Duchel taken by Vakalahi. You can see Old Glory's putting 1 to 2 men in the tackle, and there's someone coming over the top trying to jackal it.
And
And
that's what
finally, Seattle's not going to play in
That's
their
what
end.
you have to do.
That was a deep kick by Takata, or taken by Takata Simpson. Robertson sees the space. Brock Stoller has
Does
to change
not-
his angle.
Does not get a help.
Oh, and it looks like that may have gone forward just a little bit. We're going to say play on.
No, he's-
Billy. Oh, and
bringing
it
it
is.
back.
Uh-huh.
That clearly
What
went
an
forward.
error.
The ending of this match is shaping up to be super exciting. 1 point lead by Old Glory. Seattle defending MLR champions. 0-1 right now, on the verge of going 0-2 to start season 3.
This is a contender right now for game of the season so far.
Especially given how last week went, how Old Glory were thrashed handily, and Seattle almost came back at the death to beat Legion.
Well, the new teams have a huge learning curve. You know, they increase by a lot each week, whereas the veteran teams, not as much. So you knew that they were going to come out a lot better unit. The Beast definitely helped that.
I know from
Dynamic.
talking to a bunch of the Old Glory players this week, to a man, they all said that the performance that was happened down in NOLA was not an Old Glory performance, and that they were coming out today to show the fans exactly what kind of team they had here in DC. And I think no matter what the final result is, they've proven that today.
You can Sunday, March 8th at Cardinal Stadium on the campus of Catholic University, Old Glory is taking on Rugby ATL. Convenient metro access and plenty of parking. Go to oldglorydc.com and purchase your tickets. 2 expansion sides facing off after this one, but we still have 4 minutes left, so we can't look ahead too much.
Yeah.
So we have a scrum to Old Glory, almost exactly where that kick came from to begin with. So let's see what they can do with
This
the
game
ball.
is on a knife edge right now, folks. Do not go away.
Quickly put in. One of the more, a free kick to Seattle. Again, Old Glory just bailing Seattle out at the scrum. But again, free kick, better than a full arm penalty.
I don't know why the referee's giving a free kick here in this scenario. Why would that not just be a reset? A free kick doesn't really help anybody.
The ball was in. But JP Smith, it doesn't matter if it stays in or not. It was a free kick, so Robertson will take it.
Another unforced
to
error.
Simpson. And he's going to try and find some space, but Turner's right on top of it, and he drops the ball out of bounds. Unbelievable from the veteran.
Yeah,
Someone that you can count on with your life. And now Old Glory will have a choice of
One
what they
of
want
the
to scrum their
safest pair
lineup.
of hands in the league. The pressure, guys.
Well, again, it's what happens when you play the game in the right areas of the field. You know, 2 unforced errors there, and they're going to pay the price for it.
Well, Old Glory have
Here's
to.
the replay. Yep, just lost it somehow. And they're able to retain it. Mungo Mason takes it. No one wants to tackle him. Tusitala quickly spins it out to Houston. Houston finding contact, relishing the opportunity. Nakali
Angry runners.
still has so much left in the tank. Max Lum getting driven back. Still offering the ball up. Vakalahi with the quick hands to Takali. Seawolves trying to slow down this recycle and doing a good job of it. Vakalahi taking it again. Petersay over for support. Quick ball. Nakali with his 4th carry. Does just on these phases. Mungo Mason needs support. About 2.5 minutes left. Old Glory clinging to a 1-point lead. Seattle defending for their lives, known for the seawall. And Threaten Palamo goes through the gap. So close to the try line. The ball has to come out quickly.
Yeah!
And Jason Robertson dives over for the nail in the coffin. Try time. Old Glory.
That's the
The
bonus.
lead is extended to 6 points with 2 points still to come.
And right there, you see smart play from Old Glory. They were in control the whole time, played short ball until the edges opened up, and right into that dangerous man's hand.
That was rugby 101. You're killing the clock, you're holding possession, and then you're striking at the correct moment for pay dirt. That's the bonus point in the bag, guys. That should be the victory in the bag. What a way to start your opening game at home in MLR.
And if you can't hear the crowd, they are raucous right now. Everyone is on their feet. Sold out crowd, 3,000 people here. And what a match to be treated to. And Threaten Palamo's name, we haven't said it as much as you might assume. But you can't sleep on him because in the last minute of the match, he finds the gap and he sets up this try.
Maybe not on attack, but defensively, he has been absolutely nails in the centers today. And you know, and then he steps up and he takes those big carries when necessary.
So, taking his time on this kick, will we have time for the restart?
It looks like we will. We'll definitely have time for the restart. Oh, well, we have 2 different clocks.
Depends on, yes,
the stadium clock.
The SIR does keep the official time. The kick is up. It's no good. So a converted try could still put Seattle over the top, and we will have time.
Yeah. So they're gonna have to put up a contestable here.
There have been some fantastic matches so far in MLR. We're only in week 2.
I'll tell you what, it sounds like Houston had a big one today against Toronto.
Mungo craving the ball, finding space.
He's one of the angriest runners I've seen.
Nakali. He's been so involved. It's turned over. So Seattle, one last gasp. JP Smith almost finding space. Vakalahi doing well to bring him down. Brad Tucker, even though he's been hobbling around the field the last 20 minutes, his adrenaline is pumping. Matt Turner trying to redeem himself, and it's pulled out.
There's a penalty.
Nakai gathers it.
Or not,
just a knock penalty. Let's see what Seattle can do. Leinertz. JP Smith out to Billy.
Out there.
He's got skips. Duchel goes right to Brock Stoller. Old Glory doing a great job of slowing the ball down, being a nuisance around the ruck. And we have a whistle, but it's going to be unplayable, but a put into Seattle.
This is a 5-meter scrum. It's very dangerous.
This is probably the last play of the game here, guys. Old Glory need to absolutely suck it up here and have the best scrum of the day if they possibly are to hold Seattle out.
So interesting, I was talking about the game down in Houston. Toronto held on for a 5-point win. Apparently a 20-meter driven maul held up in goal. So another barn burner down there.
We've been treated to some, like you said, barn burners of a matches. It's only week 2 of MLR, but the future is just so exciting.
Oh, here it is, the game on the line.
Michael Reed in there at scrum half for DC.
Old Glory putting the
And
push
Old Glory's
on.
gone down.
Joppy out to Stoller. Stoller being brought down. Seattle looking to go wide. We've got Tucker brought down midfield. This is where it's going to be the scrappiest part of the game. Everyone
And they are
fighting
right there.
for every inch. They're so close to the line.
And if that's held up,
It's held up.
that could be game.
This is a big decision here, guys. Looks like the touch judge and referee are having a conversation.
What is he saying? Ball's held up.
Held up! It's a Old Glory
And that
win!
is the final whistle. Old Glory wins their first game of the season and their first home match of the season, rewarding the crowd. This has been a massive win. We're going to have a short break, but when we come back, we're going to be down to the field for a man of the match interview, and it could be all 15 men or all 23 men.
An historic win for Old Glory.
We're back at Cardinal Stadium. Brianna Kim has man of the match, Jason Robertson, down on the field.
Guys, I have man of the match, Jason Robertson, Old Glory fly half with me. Jason, congrats on an excellent win. A lot of momentum changes in that game. How did you guys regain your composure the whole time?
Yeah, boys knew we had to lift up this week after a performance last week wasn't very good, wasn't up to our standards. So we came out, we had a good week's training, we came out humming, and we really brought physicality to Seattle. And yeah, we were composed where we needed to be.
First game away at NOLA, second game, first ever home game here. How did the crowd help you guys in this game?
Oh, it was amazing. We've got a great fan base here in the DC, Virginia, Maryland area, and to see the crowd like this today was absolutely amazing. Just got behind us when we scored points, and when we were down, they got behind us, and it's awesome.
Congrats, Jason. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Back to you guys.
What a fantastic match. The fans getting treated to a nail-biter, literally going down to the last play of the game. Just electric here. Both teams will look to continue this momentum, or Old Glory will continue this momentum next week. Seattle will look to get regrouped. The defending MLR champions are now 0-2. But what a fantastic match here at Cardinal Stadium. Thank you for joining us, Mike Tolkien, Roland Pratt. Can't wait to see you again.
Hey, if we see another performance like this, it'll be outstanding.
It's been a great day for Old Glory.